hide your kids, lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Oh, yeah. Two guys who will never get a ticket to Davos. What's up, kids? You are listening to the Chad and Cheese Podcast. I'm your co-host, Joel DJ Cheeseman.
This is Chad. It's fucking cold in here, so wash.
And on this episode, Indeed, Goldman Sachs, LinkedIn, and PornHub. One of these things is not like the other. Let's do this.
Hospitality is the heart of our society. It brings people together to share great food, drinks, and experiences. But successfully managing a restaurant or hotel is no easy feat. That's where Harry comes in. Harry is the frontline employee experience platform that helps you build, manage, and engage great teams. With Harry, managers can easily find and hire top talent, manage timekeeping, and communicate with employees at any time from any place. Candidates and team members can quickly and efficiently apply for jobs, swap shifts, and access important information entirely from their mobile devices. And Harry's robust employee engagement tools make team members feel more connected than ever. With Harry, as an owner or operator, you get a bird's eye view of your business. From turnover cost, labor cost, employee sentiment, compliance risk, and team performance. Run your business better by understanding the power of your people. Because when your team is the heart of your business, Harry is the heartbeat. See how it transforms your business.
Oh, so talking about cold, how was Canada?
Cold, huh?
You went to Canada, you did the Canadian hockey thing. Give us a little quick story about
Canada's great. Quick shout out to the hiring branch folks, Stefan, Kevin, Beth, very hospitable, as you would imagine Canadians to be. Took us to the Canadians game. Very passionate about that sport. There they are in the north. Edmonton was in town. The Oilers have Connor McDavid, arguably the best player there. They booed every time he got the puck. It was good. It was good old fashioned fun. My wife, who's from Canada, as most of our listeners know, loves the snow. She got a little bit of snow. She got cold weather. The one negative I would say would be the train ride from basically London to Montreal. Sounds really romantic.
Yeah.
It's sitting on a tough seat for many, many, many hours. Like imagine the worst seat you've had on an airplane and do that for like 8 hours plus.
Really?
It's a little rough. Now they promoted free drinks, but they limit it to like 1 an hour. The train shut, like the train engine had issues. We had to sit at a station for like 3 hours till they got the next train. So the romantic trip wasn't romantic because it was dark the whole time. We were going from Toronto basically to Montreal, but never been to Montreal. It's a very nice city, a cool mix of old time vibey, Frenchy stuff and kind of newer things. Good food there. All around good trip. And when I came home, it was colder here in the Midwest than it was in Canada, although cold on both fronts.
Yeah, no, I saw actually Stephen O'Donnell in Scotland bitching about how cold it was. Yeah, not even close to as cold as it is here. So it's like Scotland is warmer than it is here in Indiana. That's just. But I do have something. I'm going to make you jealous. Are you ready?
You got Taco Bell for lunch?
No.
No. Okay.
No. Guess what I'm doing this weekend? Fully immersive VR experience called Sandbox. So we have one here in Indianapolis. 5 of us are going, and we're playing a game called Deadwood Valley, where you're a military team that's dropped into a town in the middle of nowhere that is infested with zombies, and it's your job to clear it out. So saw this. We did some really cool things. I think I told you about the game that we did in London with the guys from Talent Nexus. That was the Squid Games.
Yeah.
They've got that here too. But again, that wasn't fully immersive. This is fully immersive. So pretty stoked to go try that out.
How is it more fully immersive with this VR versus the Squid Game VR?
Mainly, okay, so the Squid Game, the Squid Game VR in itself, this is VR here in Indianapolis. What we did in London was it was a room that literally had projections on the wall. So that's the big difference, right?
Okay.
So when you've got the screen on your face, they can project all this stuff like scary ass zombies and shit like that. And it's like you're there versus being in a room with just seeing projected wall stuff. Now the projected wall stuff was really cool.
Yeah.
But I'm really stoked to do this immersive VR experience this weekend.
Yeah. They had one of these near me a few years ago, like pre-pandemic. I'm sure the pandemic put them out of business, but it was basically like a bunch of cubicles and people with headsets on, like you said, fighting zombies, shooting cowboys, and like one was a car. You were like racing through Montenegro or something. And my wife and her sister did it, and they wanted to throw up after doing it. So hopefully you don't have the same reaction. Kids were fine. Kids don't have an issue, but the older folks aren't quite attuned to the things that the young kids like. But yeah, that sounds a lot of fun. Get really drunk, I guess, would be my advice, and then really soak it all in, I guess.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it.
By the way, shout out to our friend Evan, our PR guy Evan, sent me a Taco Bell gift card, just because I think I did something nice. He is like the PR guy. Anything you do nice for him, he sends you something. So get to know Evan if you like free shit.
There's gonna be a video, unboxing video of something that Evan sent me. So you'll see. It's a little bit better than the Taco Bell, but there it is.
A little bit better. I have hard time thinking about that. Let's get to shout out, shall we?
Yes.
My first one is we get asked all the time, what's the best ATS? What's the best chatbot? What's the best this or that? And sometimes you just got to look at some review sites out there. G2 is probably one of the more well-known, legitimate, I guess I would say, resources out there for reviews. Well, anyway, they've dropped their winter 2024 best ATSs out there, and I just wanted to read those out for you. So the best for small business, they give to Zoho Recruit. The best for mid-market, Greenhouse. I can buy that. Best for enterprise, Greenhouse. That's 2 for Greenhouse if you're keeping score at home. Best by G2 user satisfaction is 100 hires, which I've never heard of. I don't know if you have or not.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So whatever that one. Best ease of use goes to Voltus Recruit, another one I have not heard of. Do you know Voltus?
No.
No. Okay. And the best free goes to Zoho. So if you're keeping at home, Zoho and Greenhouse are ones that we know and can at least say that it exists, and we know some people there. Voltus and 100 hires, no clue. If you're using it and love it, let us know. If not, we would say tread carefully if you're going to use those services.
I would say if you were probably talking to the Daniel, the CEO of Greenhouse, and he would say that they're not an enterprise applicant tracking system. G2, I think it's interesting. They do reviews for everything, but they know much about nothing, right? So it's like it's one of those things that you take with just a grain of salt. And I don't.
It's all reviewer. It's not. There's not a curated like expert list of people to go in, right? So yes, the system could be gamed probably pretty easily.
Yes.
So use with caution. But I thought, we get asked a lot, what are the best ATSs? This is what G2 says are the best ATSs.
Yeah. And those aren't it, other than maybe Greenhouse for, small. Shout out to listeners and guests. So our Spotify Wrapped numbers came out for 2023. And our listeners grew by 25%, streams grew by 48%, and our followers grew by 46%.
Whoa.
So thanks to all guests who graced us with their voices, their experience, and all of our listeners who gave us a hard time on a weekly basis. They gave us bourbon and also a lot of love and kudos. So thanks all, because the industry needs to have some of these hard discussions that we have. And a lot of times we're the only ones that are having them. So thanks for listening. Thanks for connecting. Not to mention, I got to say, Just last week, we received messages from Bulgaria and Dubai. And
Mhm.
Shane from Dubai knows exactly how to get cheese excited, as he pitched us coming to Dubai for a McDonald's Grand Big Mac, which is basically a Big Mac with quarter pounder patties. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can probably start to see Joel is drooling right about now.
So these were just Spotify numbers, right? They don't
Yeah.
calculate from everything. So
No, Spotify.
So that was, yeah, I was pretty impressed. Spotify is kind of a hipper thing. I'm going to tell my kids that we have increased Spotify numbers and see if they actually finally think that I'm cool. But that's probably a long shot.
Yeah.
By the way, thanks for everyone who commented and liked Chad's share of this image. He needs affirmation. He wasn't hugged a lot as a child. So everyone coming out and
I like
loving the
hugs.
things that he
I like
shares
hugs.
is
Nothing
helps all of us. Trust me, helps all of
Nothing
us.
wrong with hugs, Cheeseman.
Nothing wrong with hugs, and nothing wrong. My second
Yes.
shout out to booze being delivered to your front door. And as our listeners know,
favorite.
and many of the listeners that have signed up for free shit, which we'll get to in a second, know that Drizzly has been a trusted partner of ours. And by
Yes, they have.
when I say partner, I mean we give them money and then they do the service
And they do
that they
stuff.
were paid to do. But Drizzly was early on probably the only one other than like a mail service that would deliver booze within, a few hours if you wanted
Great
to,
service,
wanted
too.
to do that. They started in 2012. They grew organically. A couple guys in Boston, I think, said, "Hey, why can't I get my beer delivered?" And they're like, "Oh, let's create a business around this." So they
There we
did
go.
that. They were bought by Uber in 19, I think, for 1 point whatever $billion. So these guys cashed out on a great idea. Now, as many of you know, Uber Eats is a service that delivers just about everything.
Mhm.
Instacart, DoorDash, even Total Wine here. Some of the people in the U.S. know about Total Wine. They deliver, which they use DoorDash basically when you buy from them. But anyway, the news out this week, and I was originally crushed because we had a report about Bird Scooters filing for bankruptcy. Drizzly is getting shut down. Now, on the surface, that sounds horrible. What kind of life do we live? What kind of world do we live in if scooters and booze at your doorstep are gone? So they're shutting the brand down, but they're going to wrap it into Uber, and Uber will be delivering everything from groceries to picking you up to whatever. So it's not dead per se. But if you love the Drizzly Grizzly, I love the branding, the red. It's just great. They were at Sherm National this year. There was a booth for Drizzly. They gave me some swag. I felt a real bond with this product, and now it's gone. So in that sense, it's kind of a bad news. But never fear, kids. Chad and Cheese will still be able to deliver booze to your doorstep, but you got to sign up. And let's just jump right to it before your next shout out, Chad. Go to chadcheese.com, click the free link, sign up. We're talking about beer from Aspen Tech Labs, a bourbon selection for both Chad and I, from Tex Kernel, and of course, free t-shirts from our friends at JobGet, which, by the way, we're formulating our new shirts for the next year. So make sure you get that new shirt. You got to go to chadcheese.com. Click the free link for that good stuff that we deliver.
Love the good stuff. Love the good stuff. So my next shout out, my last shout out, is going to go to the Pie to Pie podcast. Yes, I actually said that. Pie to Pie podcast. Yeah, you thought we had a good name, Cheeseman. And here's why. I'm gonna go ahead and share this video. Here we go.
Everybody in our pizzeria makes at least $50,000 or $60,000 a year, and the leadership makes close to $100,000 a year. That's what it costs to have people that are good at their job and care about it. And the reason that people don't care about their job out there in the world is because they get treated like we don't care about them. And if you don't care about your employees, what do you expect? You know what I'm saying? Like, slavery is over, people. It's time to treat people well and care about them. And unfortunately, for the people that get to keep the whatever's left at the end of the month, that means you got to pay them well. It would be really nice if I could just make lots of money and not care. But
but that's the big but, right?
Pizzeria, 50, 60K a year.
Yeah.
Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But did you see what he did there, though? He equated money, paying someone a living wage, to caring about your employees. Not a high five or a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Money. Now, don't get me, wrong. Motivating employees is important, but it's fucking hard to motivate someone who is more worried about, how they're gonna, I don't know, fucking pay their next house payment, car payment, feed the kids. So if you care about your employees, pay your employees. We talked about last week on the shout out how an HR professional said a high five or a pat on the back is just as good as a raise. That's bullshit, kids. Pay them. Pay them. Pay them.
That must be some fucking good pizza if they can give wages like that. And I was transfixed by the logo. It was the LA like Dodgers logo, and the A was a piece like a slice of pizza. That's genius. And
that's pretty sweet.
And why the Dodgers haven't killed that, I don't know why. But yeah, good on that. Wait a
minute. Is it time for birthdays?
Oh.
I rum with plum.
Really?
What's going on? Huh?
Can you feel the tension in the air right now? I know I can.
I can.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
That's right, Chad. Another year around the sun for some of our listeners. And if you've been listening to our fantasy football updates, you know that I love a good nickname. And for some reason, I can't control myself. I'm starting to give nicknames to the birthday people. So apologies. I need my fix. I'm sorry. All right. So celebrating another year around the sun, we got Tom Bartles and James. See what I did there? Chris Gross-Jean, Chanel Nelson, Michael Odell Beckham Jr., Joanne Lockwood. Happy birthday. Chris Russell, the Love Muscle, Marvelous Marvin Morgan, Steve Impringham, Jason Roberts, Robin Schooling, Michelle Cryer, and Tommy Boy Tom Eckhart are all celebrating another year around the sun. Oh, the nickname's too much. Should I not do? I mean, you laughed. So if you laugh, somebody else probably laughed.
Apparently, you know more about Chris Russell than we do.
His wife has a Twitter account that you should check out. It's
okay. Anyway, events. Here we go.
We'll get to the PornHub stuff later, folks. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Events. So, TA Week in San Diego, January 29th through the 1st of February. Join us at the San Diego Zoo. Have you ever been to the San Diego Zoo?
I have not, but it's world famous.
I've heard from many people listening to this podcast that it is amazing. So if you're going to be at TA Week on day 0, that's Monday, January 29th, from 2 to 5 Pacific time, we're going to be at the zoo to experience the biggest koala colony outside of Australia. There it is. Look at it. YouTube kids. And listener, you can win free tickets into the zoo by heading off to chadcheese.com, click on the events link in the upper right-hand corner, or just go to chadcheese.com/events. And right there on the header, you can register to go to the zoo with us. That on day 1. And then on day 2, we're going to be in the Qualify booth interviewing the best and brightest practitioners that are out there. This event is going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait, dude, because I am totally fucking ready to leave the gray of Indiana and get some SoCal sun on my skin.
You've been here for a minute. You were in Portugal. You're here for you'll be here for like a week, and then
my tan is fading. This is bullshit. Then in March 11th through the 14th, we're going to be at the Wynn for Transform Vegas. This is a big show. We haven't been at this one. Over 3,000 attendees, 100 plus investors, more than 500 startups, 300 speakers. Our first time, once again, if you've never been before, we're going to be there. It's in Vegas at the Wynn. Go to chadcheese.com/events. If you register on the site, guess what? You're going to see a discount code. That's right. Chad and Cheese, always looking to save you cash.
Ooh. Yeah, we're expanding our footprint, Chad. We haven't been to TA Week. We haven't been to Transform. So we're bulging. I like it. I like the exposure. And by the way, speaking of bulging, our travel is sponsored by our friends at Shaker Recruitment Marketing, as always.
I got to say real quick for them, They send one of the smartest Christmas presents or New Year's presents or holiday gifts.
Yeah.
And here's why, kids. It's balsamic and it's olive oil, right? And it's got the shaker logo on it. Now, if it was booze, you generally wouldn't leave it on your counter all year until it's used up, right? You go put it with your booze cabinet or what have you. But this, you put out on your counter, and you have the shaker logo until you use it all. And it takes a while to use the size bottle that they have. So that, I thought about this week. That's incredibly smart from the kids over at Shaker Recruitment Marketing.
Yeah, I keep mine in the bathroom. It's great on my skin to keep it nice and smooth. But still, same point.
I don't want to know what you use that for.
It's the same point, Chad. It sits there for a while. I've got a lot of skin, but still, it takes a while to empty that thing. So
I don't want to know.
Good.
I don't
Shaker in the household all year round. That's what I love. And all year round, kids, if you haven't checked out the Chad and Cheese podcast does data, we've partnered with LinkUp's Toby Dayton to look at each month's federal numbers, jobs numbers. We dissect them, we dig in, ask questions that you don't get on CNBC because those people are smarter than we are. Only once a month, only on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/@ChadCheese. Make sure you subscribe, like, share it with your grandma because she loves the show too. What else do we have? I guess that's it. There's no more fantasy football.
Topics.
I feel so lonely. Nope. I need that "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend" soundbite. Unfortunately, I guess we won't. We don't have it.
Topic. A little Simon and Garfunkel to start the show.
So good. So good. All right. Indeed. That's right. We're starting with Indeed. I know you're surprised. Has launched Tech Network, an industry-specific programmatic ad service allowing enterprise-scale customers to distribute job ads across 50-plus tech websites. The platform aims to help employers fill hard-to-find roles with a healthcare-focused network coming soon. The updated service has integrations with over 300 applicant tracking systems, aiming to simplify the hiring process. Employers using Tech Network in the U.S. experience a significant increase in relevant applicants from skilled candidates. That's according to, you guessed it, Indeed. The platform is expected to expand to more markets in the near future. Chad, your thoughts on the Indeed Tech Network?
Why wasn't Indeed doing this already? They bought ClickIQ how many fucking years ago? I mean, they weren't already using their advanced tech, yeah, that's sarcasm, kids, to target qualified candidates. They're literally announcing that they never were really targeting relevant candidates before. So it was all bullshit. Before this, it was all bullshit. You never got relevant stuff as it was. And if you're using Indeed, you probably knew that anyway. So this sounds like either a cry for help or even a diversion more than a new product. And seriously, how do you get the market to stop talking about your failed pay per apply or pay per started apply products? Well, you create something they should have accomplished 10 years ago. I would label this maybe even more as an Indeed smokescreen. Also, the love they gave for like having 300 plus ATS integrations, total bullshit. If you've ever worked with an applicant tracking system before, everyone in the industry knows that integrating with an ATS is fucking hard. Routine maintenance breaks it. Pixels don't work. And when you're as big of a bully as Indeed is, no applicant tracking system really wants to see you succeed. And we know that because we've had candid conversations with applicant tracking system leaders for well over a decade. They hate those motherfuckers. Last but not least, a word of warning for job sites that are involved in this new product. Ask yourself what happens when the bulk of your specialized candidates are now in Indeed's database. What happens then? What happens? Yep. Indeed cuts off your revenue stream and you die. That's what happens. There are a lot of job sites, and I got a lot of messages this morning around this. There are a lot of job sites that are not doing well right now.
No.
And Indeed knows that they are looking for cash. They're looking for the heroin, right? This is Indeed's way of giving that little heroin drip. And a lot of these job sites are going to get suckered into it. They're going to push all their specialized candidates into Indeed, and then Indeed is just going to fucking boa constrictor their ass and kill them.
Yeah. In addition to the IQ comment about being programmatic, my second thought was why would they kill the API? They were the backfill for so many job sites for free. All they had to do was target like specific niches. So yeah. The other thing that popped in my head was a trip back to the future. In that when I was at Job Options, our primary marketing strategy was to partner with industry sites, associations, news sites, and then we would power a job site. People would click jobs if they went to, whatever site, and then they would see our jobs. If they applied or posted their resume, that it would be posted onto our network. All the pricing stuff was like we powered the whole thing. Google killed it. Google killed that whole model because that was a much cheaper way to get traffic. It turns out people that go to a news site do click jobs, but it's like 10% of the visitors. Whereas Google, if I search jobs, like everyone's clicking those links. So that model is super old. And that made me think, well, now that Google for Jobs is here, Indeed is maybe back in the situation where, okay, well, we can't rely on Google for the traffic anymore. How do we leverage what we have to do that? So they're like, let's go back to the old partner model where we'll power jobs for people. And this is also the recruitology / job case model. So you're seeing now these job case sites pop up. They're more or less on newspaper sites. So it's like locally focused. So Indeed is partnered with, I guess, Wired, according to the news release, Stack Overflow, and a few others like that. But it reeks of sort of, we're desperate, we can't get traffic, and now let's create a new way to get money from people. So now their salespeople can call all the companies looking for tech talent and say, oh, we have 50 plus sites in our tech network. It's only going to cost you X to be on this network. So now they're going to like get more money out of people. And then when healthcare launches, like no surprise, that's probably the second biggest dollar amount that you can grab is healthcare. So now they're going to call all the healthcare systems and say, oh, we have this new health network with all these sites that I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they're paying Wired to have that real estate. That would be an interesting twist, is if Indeed is paying some people to have that real estate, because if Wired's giving it to them for free or even a rev share, I think they are cheating themselves out of some profit. So this feels like a story from 25 plus years ago is new again because of the same issues. No search traffic, and let's see how we can get more money and make it look like we're strategically helping you target these specific individuals. I think it's
back to we talked about Stack Overflow actually ditching their jobs and their careers section that they wanted to go after. It didn't work, kids. Do you think putting a jobs link that didn't work before, but having it powered by Indeed is going to work? It's not going to fucking work. So what's going to happen is they're going to charge more CPC wise because they've got these names that they're going to throw on marketing material. And it's all fucking, it's all fucking smoke and mirrors. This is the Indeed smoke screen. That's what it is.
Yeah. If you know the model, hit us up on the socials. Are they paying for this real estate? Are they rev sharing it? What's going on here? I'd like to know. Well, as things usually go with Indeed. And more pills, let's go to our friends at LinkedIn. They've introduced new job search features aimed at making career transitions easier for users. The new collections feature categorizes jobs based on interest, such as sports or gaming, making it easier for users to discover relevant opportunities. Additionally, LinkedIn says users now have more control over their job preferences, allowing them to set criteria like employment type, pay preference, and location, such as remote work. Preferences matching the user's criteria are highlighted, wait for it, in green. Should the competition be green with envy, Chad? Your thoughts?
So bad. So bad. Oh, you mean about LinkedIn, not the joke. Yeah.
Sorry.
So last week, Joel, you pondered the power of Gen AI in LinkedIn, and my response is that it'd be like strapping a jet engine on a Cessna. And this week, well, they proved me right. What kind of sorry ass search bullshit is this? we're using Gen AI. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, I'm using the air quotes, kids. Gen AI. Dude, you can do that with basic fucking search and match. I mean, dumbed down search and match, not the more advanced stuff like text kernel. So they had more advanced stuff with other vendors available to them that they just never used. So they're receiving a rise in applications because their platform sucked in the first place. They could do nothing but go up. And now they've applied 2010 basic search methodology, and they want to call it AI. I call bullshit. LinkedIn, listen up. Your platform is old. Your tech is in heavy tech debt. And here's a message to your sugar daddy, Microsoft. Microsoft, do yourself a favor and implode LinkedIn. Help them build something that works, starting from the ground up, and then stop that basic bitch AI narrative. It's beneath you. They've got a lot of great talent. They've got a lot of great tech. They just need to be running parallel, like Monster should have done during the Indeed days, to be able to build this thing up, and then continue to build that moat.
If you are connected to me on LinkedIn, you know that I regularly like to post related search results that I typically get from Glassdoor, which tells me that I should be a janitor at my local high school, or maybe making pizza pies at the local Papa John's. Now, I have nothing against Papa John's. They make a damn good pizza. And its founder is from Ball State University, but we won't go into him because he got into a little bit of trouble a few years after that. Anyway,
yeah.
For the first time, I showed a related search from LinkedIn who thinks I should be a host at my local Olive Garden. Now, I don't know if it took the fact that I'm a co-host on a podcast and somehow thinks that I'm a host at a restaurant, but that is just bad AI, if nothing else. So
it's not AI.
I don't know what the hell. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they just, because the OpenAI, like Microsoft and OpenAI, LinkedIn should be crushing the AI like related search.
Yes.
You should feel like you're on Netflix when you're on LinkedIn about like jobs that are applicable to you. They clearly are not getting the job done because co-host of a podcast and hostess or host of a restaurant are really far apart from each other. I'm seeing more and more like job stuff in profiles and searches I do. If you worked at a certain company and you're searching someone, they'll have like jobs at that company. So they're focused more on jobs. And I get the fact that, a recent story, they said that applications have risen 50% in the US as well as 36% globally, with 85% of working people contemplating changing jobs this year. So somebody at the high ups at LinkedIn said, there's going to be a lot of job search traffic. How to get more people to our jobs? And the flip side of that is they're probably getting less job search traffic, maybe because of Google, maybe because of people, figuring out other ways to get jobs, like watching TikToks where people are saying they're paying 60 grand to their pizzerias. I don't know what's going on, but they are clearly falling down on the job search from traffic perspective. Companies are probably telling them we're not getting the traffic that we used to or that we want. So they are hell-bent, whether they do it right or wrong, to get more traffic and try to get more people to apply to these jobs. But as my related search results show, they are failing miserably at that task. We'll be right back. All right, Chad, who's ready for a little Who'd You Rather? That's right. You know how it works, kids. We talk about two companies that have recently gotten a little bit of funding, and Chad and I will review those companies and tell you who we'd rather. So if You're ready to play, Chad. Let's get to company number 1. Mercor has secured $3.6 million in funding. The company introduces an AI-powered platform for automated candidate vetting. Mercor promises to pull data from various sources to create a holistic applicant profile, enabling quick, precise matches for specific roles. Founded in 2023, they claim to have achieved 7-figure annual recurring revenue and boast a talent pool of 100,000 users across 25 countries. That is Mercor. And in this corner, we have PerformYard. They've secured $95 million in funding, which they say will be used to enhance their software suite and expand the team. The platform, founded in 2013, not quite a startup, offers tools for performance reviews, feedback, and employee engagement surveys. Claiming over 1,500 business customers, PerformYard says it has experienced 5x revenue growth in the last 4 years. Chad, who'd you rather, PerformYard or Mercor?
No, Mercor, very much like parkour. Got to say, their explainer video was really sharp. They did a really good job on that. And here's my problem: the CEO and founder has no experience in this space. And here's an example: quote, "Our crawlers automatically pull information from resumes, GitHubs, personal portfolios, websites, and more to create a picture of every applicant," end quote. So that sounds exactly like the same message a Hiring Solved or Crowded had about 6 to 7 years ago, right?
Yep.
Then PerformYard, on the other hand, really needs to start tying their retention and productivity platform to the end result that the C-suite really cares about: slow attrition and bigger revenues. They have exactly what every other platform would kill to have, but the marketing message is falling way short of the C-suite's give a shit mark. But no matter, this who'd you rather is pretty lopsided, and I'd rather have a more established player who needs to tweak their message over a newcomer with little to no experience. I would rather the Yard, PerformYard.
All right. This was a hard one to pick because they're both sort of in my book. So Mercor, you're right. Mercor is sourcing with a new wrapper. It's a chatbot sort of interface. You chat like, hey, I need some PHP developers, and you go through a chat kind of scenario. It's all tech focused, and we know that tech layoffs are sort of a thing these days. So the amount of people that are hiring tech, I know, is probably at the floor and going up from here, but it's not exactly the best place to do business. At the moment, we've seen a major collapse of the sourcing tool, whether it's Seek Out, sort of, I don't know what they're doing currently. Hiring Solved gone, Hire Tool rebranded. Yeah. I mean, it's been commoditized. So I don't know, just making this a chat thing isn't going to like change the game for sourcing. So I'm not like super interested in them. And then I go to PerformYard. They've been around a long time. It hasn't happened yet, which kind of makes me a little bit concerned. $95 million in funding. They got to be doing something right. So something,
a lot of cash.
That says something about that. Although we know the risks of raising too much money sometimes is better than the opposite side of that. My big problem with PerformYard is the competition. I mean, you got Lattice, you got 15.5, Leapsome, Trackstar, Culture Amp. I mean, there's a lot of competition. So do I pick the company where they have little competition because all the competition is gone or rebranded? Or do I take the company
or
do I take the company that has a ton of competition and is going to have a hell of a hard time making it? So this is a really tough one. And I refuse to like not pick either. So if you put a gun to my head, a virtual gun in this case, because you're going to the VR shooting zombies, I'm going to have to go with Mercor because there's nobody left. And maybe it's just timing. Maybe it's a QR code thing, right? Everyone had QR codes for a while, and then everyone went out of business with QR codes, and then the pandemic happened, and then QR codes were cool again. So maybe Mercor is going to be cool again. Maybe parachute pants are back. Maybe maybe Z Cavaricis are back, and maybe sourcing for tech talent is back. So in this case, for me, Mercor, and that is another game of Who'd You Rather. All right, Chad, let's get to one of your favorite guys, Goldman Sachs and DJ Saul. Goldman Sachs has ended its launch with GS initiative, committing $1 billion to companies led by women and people of color. The bank claims to have fulfilled its goal, deploying the funds to nearly 60 investments. So I guess Goldman Sachs solved racism, Chad. I missed that headline. Regina Green, the head of launch with GS, announced her departure, and the bank is shifting focus to the 1 Million Black Women Initiative, pledging $10 billion in investment capital over 10 years. The move comes amid broader challenges for diversity programs and Goldman facing criticism for extending beyond its core business. Chad, are you picking up what DJ Saul is dropping?
So I got to say, over the past weeks and months, we've seen several privileged individuals claim that they want to claw back these types of promises or programs. Instead of focusing on that, let's focus on something real world and working class. You know, nothing and nothing is more working class than the military. So earlier this week, on Monday, Martin Luther King Day, John Popelka shared his story on LinkedIn, and it was a lot like mine. So first off, John and I, who have never met, although we both grew up in Ohio, where racism flourished, we joined the Army, where about 50% of our basic training classes were diverse. Both John and I had very influential leaders of color all throughout our careers in the military. Those leaders shaped us and the people that we are today. But I want to mimic what John writes in his post. Quote, "I thank God for the leaders in my life who deprogrammed all that bullshit out of me." He goes on to say, "Love and gratitude to all of the change agents, past and present, who work tirelessly to make the American dream a little more accessible to all." That last part, make the American dream a little bit more accessible to all. That just stuck with me after reading about DEIB programs being demonized and cut. Our country, our success, our failures, everything happened as a melting pot. And to not understand our greatest strength, which is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, is to not understand our history and how we got here and what America truly is. So shout out to John Popelka, who showed us a little bit of his soul this week. And then also, that's the working class and how the impact actually happens. Unlike a DJ Saul who is pissing and moaning at a country club, right? This is the real world.
Yeah, I feel like a broken record on the DEI conversation because and we talked about it, ever since the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action, we knew that companies would start unplugging from these initiatives, that the PR machine would pay less attention to that as a result. And it was sort of a green light to strike that down. And according to your friend, you know, these initiatives, affirmative action, for example, you know, if you're a kid of color in this country and you hear affirmative action is gone, are you more or less likely to apply to a prestigious university? I don't know, but I would guess less, because you feel like maybe there's no way that you're going to get in, so why even bother? That may or may not be the reality, but the perception is there. And I think perception has a really strong presence in this issue, because $10 billion over 10 years. Okay, $10 billion sounds like a lot of money. $10 billion over 10 years to Goldman Sachs is not. It's a great headline. There's nothing saying that 2 years from now they don't cancel this initiative and do something else, and then just keep moving the ball, keeping the media on their toes and what the hell's going on. You really have to look at the proof. Proof is in the pudding, right? So anytime I hear these DEI stories and people are getting out, or people are committed to it, go to their website, go to their About Us page, and look at their executive team. I'm serious. Because if they don't walk the walk, then fuck them. And if you go to Goldman Sachs About Us page and their executive site, let me get these numbers right here for you, Chad. They have 6 white guys on their executive team, and they have 2 white women. I said white twice there, and I didn't say color once. So if Goldman wants to really walk the walk, let's get some persons of color on the executive team. How about that? That would be a good start.
It's a good start. It's a good start. And again, unfortunately, like we talked about last week, hopefully we will see some companies instead of, and actually, Prof G, who we listened to, had talked about, maybe instead of focusing on, color, maybe these old white dudes, privileged white dudes, maybe we can focus on the individuals who are in poverty, right? Maybe that's the quote unquote frame that we have to use to be able to get those people out of poverty and get them into different types of jobs, or maybe even up the ladder. To me, I don't care how we do it. We just have to be able to focus on equity and inclusion. And it's hard when they're getting rid of these programs.
Yeah. Vote with your wallets. And by the way, there's an election in the U.S. and about 20 some other countries in the world. So your vote counts as well. Make a difference. Yeah. We'll be right back.
LinkUp is the leading provider of deep, accurate, and actionable labor market data. Unique in that we only get job listings from the one source of truth, the employer's website. By going to the source, we avoid all the duplicate and expired job listings that plague job boards and thereby other job data sets. Our data offers the clearest window into employers of all types and sizes throughout the world for an ever-growing number of use cases and applications.
Can I interest you in some PornHub data,
doing,
Chad? I know you love data. So here we go. PornHub has released its annual report on global porn consumption. The report includes various data points and charts analyzing trends in online adult content consumption. Some notable findings include the popularity of certain categories linked to racial and ethnic terms, highlighting issues of fetishization and sexual racism. Additionally, the report notes a rise in searches for trans porn, with baby boomers and cisgender women contributing to increased interest. The report also provides state-specific data revealing unique preferences in different regions, such as Maryland's interest in glory holes and Missouri's top search being transformation. Chad, there's a lot to swallow here. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I got nothing, dude. I looked at the list and I didn't know some of the terms. I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the fuck, right? And so but some of the information really didn't surprise me because they were talking about like some of the more mature terms, like for mature sex porn, what have you. And again, it's baby boomers. I mean, they've got nothing to do. They've retired. They're taking these little fucking blue pills and they're getting told no, apparently. So, they got to do something. They got to do something. Yeah. So it just kind of makes sense.
Old dicks, young chicks never gets old on porn.
Blame the boomers.
Some of my faves here, Chad. The boomers' favorite category was smoking. Are they smoking during sex? Are they smoking brisket? I don't know why smoking would be the top search term for baby boomers. Like the
Marlboro Man? Are they looking for the Marlboro Man sex?
I don't know. Maybe they're reconnecting with the 60s and 70s. Everybody smoked. Like that's how they had sex and they want to relive that. I don't know. Star Wars was the top movie character search. That makes total sense unless Chewbacca is something more popular than Princess Leia. Totally get that. Yeah. So the top relative searches by state when compared to other searches by those states. Mm-hmm. So North Dakota's number one search term was loud, wet sex. Loud, wet sex in North Dakota. Go figure. Mississippi was furry. Connecticut, this is good. Talk about some freakazoids in Connecticut. Speaking of Chris Russell's love muscle, double vagina. Double vagina was the number one search. I don't know. I don't even know what's going on here. So Chad, I have no clue. I wanted to look at our top search terms at Chad and Cheese for the year because I didn't think we'd get anything close to that. But so for those that are interested, layoffs and iSIMS was very good to us in 2023. Okay. We had Beamer layoffs, iSIMS layoffs, Veritone layoffs, Rate and See layoffs, and deal layoffs being top terms that sent people to the site. In terms of iSIMS, iSIM CEO resigns was a top search term, as well as iSIM CEO steps down. And my favorite, who is iSIM's CEO? Those were top search terms for our site. And the number one search term that was not Chad or cheese, that had Chad or cheese in it was, want to take a guess?
Indeed.
Oh, close. Keep going. Indeed blank.
Indeed sucks.
Yes. Yes. Way to go, Chad.
Yes.
Indeed. The gift that keeps on giving, just like PornHub. We out.
We out.
Thank you for listening to, what's it called? The podcast. The Chad. The Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know. And yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar. Blue. Nacho. Pepper jack. Swiss. There's so many cheeses and not one word. So weird. Anywho, be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chadcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!